Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching and Self-Reliance U. Always remember your life, your dreams, your goals, and your career are all essential. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And I very much appreciate almost 400 people that have subscribed to this channel, Playing It Forward Coaching. If you haven't yet, please do so. It'd be much appreciated and tell others about it. We've got some great interviews going with some phenomenal role models, life stories, etc. Like to welcome a good friend of mine, Dave Marsh. He coaches, as I do, two different sports at Northeastern, the girls field hockey, as well as the girls softball. So welcome, Dave, and tell us a little about yourself and your story there, sir.
Oh, well, thanks. It's nice to finally get together with everything that's been happening. As you said, field hockey and softball coach here at Northeastern. Prior to that, I taught at Central High School, and I was also the field hockey and softball coach there as well. Mm-hmm. Now, with everything that's going on, it's such an exciting time now that everything is opening up. Too bad we didn't get that while we were playing this spring.
For sure.
But it's really been nice to see that the kids get back into it and are open to play and are excited about moving forward.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, when you were at Central, Dave, what did you teach?
I taught health and phys ed at Central.
Okay, very good. And so what is it as far as the two sports that you do coach? What is it about those particular sports that obviously they're different, but what is it about one or the other that you really enjoy?
Well, I think the kids always ask me that each year, and I always tell them they ask me to compare both sports, and I say, if you've ever played chess, if you think about it, like for me, softball is you're playing the regular chess game. You think about a move, it could be two moves ahead. Whereas field hockey is like speed chess. You have to make a move and then quickly you could go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. Mm-hmm. And there's something that's there for both of them. One, when you're thinking about softball, you think, okay, we got a girl on first. I see who's coming up 2 batters from now. So in order to get this girl to point C, I have to have this girl do this. And if she executes, then we'll be fine. Versus field hockey, you're moving to the right, you have to hit it up to the sideline as the other team had the ball. Now you have to switch to play defensive mode, and you don't have time to think about the mistake that you made because the game is still going on. Whereas softball, you make that mistake, and sometimes the error causes the game to stop, or to do one or two things, and then the girl sits there and thinks about what she did. Mm-hmm. But that would be the difference, and the excitement that I get out of teaching each sport.
Yeah, no, well said and everything. And I would be remiss if we didn't bring up a phenomenal young lady we both had the privilege of coaching, Gigi Castano. What do you have to say about that incredible young lady who was a phenomenal student athlete?
Right, by far one of, if not the best player I've coached, and not just talking about softball. It's just her versatility and being able to play probably any sport with the way she carries herself. And the one thing that I really like is she is such a leader. And when you have a leader that doesn't even have to be vocal, she leads by example. And then when it's time to say something, she'll also do that, and she'll take the person aside and go over some information with them, tell them what they did wrong and how to fix it. And that's the thing that she always does. She always ends on a positive when she talks to someone. And for me as a coach, it was really neat to see her grow from her freshman year to her senior year, and being able to just step back and let her run a few of the drills, or let her correct the play the way it should be. And just to see her doing that was really, really eye-opening and an exciting experience.
Yeah, no, she's amazing, and certainly as good of a student athlete. When you look at the how she did, academically and everything like that. And she's obviously going on to West Point to play softball. I mean, she was just an absolute joy to have on the team. That's for sure. What other things that stood out in your mind, Coach, with some of your other players, whether it's in field hockey or softball, any particular memories or whatever that stand out? You know, a big win or a particular
Well,
athletic achievement?
I think, going to field hockey the last couple of years, my first few years at Northeastern, we had really athletic girls and we were really successful. And then things dropped off for a little bit as far as numbers and participation of girls in the program. And so we weren't winning. We didn't win as many games as we did in the past. However, they really competed. And when you're looking at different schools that we're going to play, the Centrals, the Dallas Towns, the Red Lions, who have about 35, 40 girls on a roster each time coming in. And then they come play us, and where we have possibly 17, 18 girls on a roster, and sometimes didn't get to play a JV game because of the lack of numbers, or we played a reduced number JV game where we played 7-on-7, so that the other teams were able to get some of their players in games and things well. But instead of quitting, the girls really worked hard, and to me, talking to them, said, it's not about just the wins and losses. It's about how you carry yourself and the attitude and how hard you want to work and what you get out of what you put into the sport. So for me, yes, winning is great, but they taught me, because it was really rough that first year after we went to districts, and then we ended up only winning 2 games the following 2 years. Was difficult to look at, on a daily basis. But every time I got to practice, the girls were really excited. And, even after the loss, they had one type of attitude, but then coming in the next day, they always had a positive attitude and said, I hope we can win this game. Let's work on this drill. Let's work on that drill. And maybe we'll be able to execute this in a game. And so just seeing the girls compete and not give up, even after, you give up 2 or 3 goals right away, instead of putting their head down, they sucked it up and they worked hard and only gave up like 2 or 3 more goals the rest of the game. So to us, that was a big thing for us.
Sure. Certainly agree. And what are some of you cited some life lessons, Coach, that obviously, unless somebody's on their way to making the Olympics or somewhere, the professional leagues or whatever, the life lessons have always, in my mind, been probably the most valuable things as far as interscholastic sports. What life lessons have you seen that you believe are very, very helpful, regardless of the sport?
Yeah, well, I always have quotes that I talk to the girls about, and one of them, frustration is having no one to blame but yourself. It's one of the things I always throw at the girls. And they're like, no way, we can prove you wrong on that. And I said, no, you really can't. And I said, as a coach, you sit there, that night, and you're putting together your practice plan for tomorrow, and you're really excited about it. And you say, okay, here are these 5 drills that we're going to do, and we get to drill 1. And I'm like, wait a minute. We can't get 5 done going like this. And, you get frustrated with it, that it's not going the way you want it to go. So instead of being frustrated at the girl, I take a step back and said, frustration, having no one to blame but yourself. So if it's for me, if I'm the one to blame for this, what am I doing wrong? Okay, instead of doing this drill, let me adjust this drill because of what I see in reality instead of what I wrote down on paper, and then adjusted it that way. And even though I didn't get to drill number 5, we were positive in getting to drill number 1, 2, and 3. And so you work the next day to add on to the practice plan or change the practice plan. But that's one of the things that I always try to get them. And every day they'll come up to me and they're like, well, what about this situation? Isn't it? Shouldn't so-and-so be frustrated? I'm like, yes, but look at this way. Look at this way. So that's a big life lesson, I think, that the girls could take away and always remember, because when I see alumni, they always say, hey, I remember that frustration thing. And I'm like, yes, I remember. And then they go over it and try to come back with what their thoughts are. So it's been good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, certainly, a key to life is absolutely being able to handle a certain level of frustration because we're going to go through it, and the resiliency, the ability to adapt, and just from what I'm hearing from you, you're kind of hitting on what I believe is the cardinal rule of coaching, and that is your rapport and how well you handle the kids. And it sounds like that's something that you certainly believe in as well.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. And then the other ones that I believe in no particular order is what you know as a coach, how well you transfer what you know as a coach to the kids, and then how you hold or glue the team together with good communication. Those four things. If you do those four things, you're probably going to do pretty well. Any other standout memories or ideas, Coach, that you'd like to share with us here as we're getting a little closer to concluding, but any thoughts or ideas, with your years of coaching, that something that might have really stood out, whether it was a lesson or whatever?
I think one of the things, and I always talk to the girls on both teams about it, and luckily, softball has been more successful lately. But the key to everything was when I first started coaching there about 7 or 8 years ago, and talk to the girls about it. I introduced them to one of my assistant coach, who's Allie Merrifield,
Mhm.
who I used to coach back when in high school, and she went to Downtown, so I did some off-season stuff with her to help her with her recruiting video and things for college. But then it ended up that after she went through the college process, then she ended up coming back and coaching with me. So I told that story at Northeastern, and one of the girls there, Kayla Jordan, was there my first year, and we talked about coaching, we talked about a lot of different things. But I said, if you're ever around, because she was going to go to Millersville in teaching, said you can come back and you can help me coach, because she wanted to get into coaching at some point. And now she's my assistant coach, top assistant, and has been great. So I talk to the kids about, it's not about winning and losing, but look at the friendship that I've created, or that we've created through the sport. So there are a lot of things that when you're going through it, you don't really think about it, but in the long run, there are so many different benefits that you get. And to have someone want to join the program that they were a part of, and then now is one of the key elements in having us be positive and moving forward. And so she's able to say, back when I started out and Coach Marsh said this and this, he really means he wants you to do this. And so she's able to guide them through what she went through as a player and now as an assistant coach. And it's been so exciting to see the growth that she has coming in.
That's certainly got to be very rewarding, and can't help but think on how important the being able to kind of break it down and transfer, the wisdom that you have as a coach to a level that the kids understand. This is why we're doing, this particular part of practice, which obviously a quality practice is very, very important. And, being able to do those little things, as good as possible, it really makes some good progress and everything.
Right.
Any last second thoughts, Coach? I'd like you to stick around after I stop the recording, but no, this has been great. Any last thoughts before we conclude here?
No, I just wanted to thank you for inviting me to the meeting. I think it was, I really liked it, and look forward to viewing, the other coaches going through the programs as well.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to try to get as many of our coaches. In fact, I've got most of them at this point. I'm still trying to get that darn Coach Stevens, but he's a little camera shy or something, Any words about Coach Stevens? I mean, he is a phenomenal athletic director, and I've said this on a couple of the other interviews as well. What's your thought about Brian Stevens?
I definitely think fondly of Brian. He, like you said, he is a great leader, and is one person that I would like stand beside and help in any realm, because of the way he carries himself, the way that he presents things to us, and let us as a coach grow and develop. And, you know, he's always there as a sounding board to bounce things off of. Really the way that he carries himself makes me want to be more successful, so that the program that he's running is all successful as well.
Sure. No, very well said. And it would be remiss if we didn't, you know, give him a lot of credit as well, because he does a great job, as our trainer Zach Knoll does as well. I'm hoping to get Zach pretty soon as far as an interview is concerned. He verbally gave me the okay a couple of weeks ago while we were still in school, so we'll see. But
all right.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. If you just hang for a minute here, I'll pause it and I'll come right back with you here. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.